It's great to talk to you guys all today, it's hard to follow in the footsteps of Jim and Ramona. They did a great job there talking about Facebook. And we talk about, we have 3 platforms that we're going to talk about today. There are many more, but in the interest of time and bandwidth, and as Matt mentioned, we don't have a full-time social media manager at USA Swimming. We do it by committee. And so in the interest of time, and you need to focus on what you can do to do it right, as opposed to do too many things and not be able to manage each one effectively. Because if you're on a platform just to be on a platform, it's a losing proposition. So I want to ask you guys a question. How many of your clubs are on Facebook? Keep your hands up. How many of you are on Twitter? Okay, about the same. Now this is the one that we're all bracing for. How many of you are on Instagram? It's a little more than 20%, Matt. You win. You win the bet. So Instagram, it is the one that is growing. It is the one that is traditionally younger. So depending on who your audience is, what you post on Instagram is going to be seen more primarily by a younger audience. So Instagram, it's all about pictures and video, 15 seconds worth of video. But I just had up there, the first phrase of picture is worth 1,000 words was back in 1911 by a journalist, a newspaper editor. Remember those things, newspapers? Last week I spent a few minutes with Missy, and I asked her, what is your social media platform of choice? And she said immediately, Insta. And I said, why? And I think I knew the answers, but why? It's easy, okay? Snap and share. You take a picture, and I have a graphic later, and we'll go through kind of how you can use Instagram. Basically, you snap a picture, type in a few words if you want to, but you don't have to because it's a visual medium, and you share it. Done. You can express yourself through pictures. And pictures, when we talk about Facebook and we talk about Twitter, and I don't know if you guys are going to cover this later, Ramona and Jim, but posts with pictures or video have different, depending on what study you read, 50%, 100%, 200% more engagement if you have a photo. The beauty of Instagram is it's based on photos. It's based on videos. So you're automatically going to have a built-in audience that wants to see what you are posting. And we all know that through your practices, through your team building, through your dry land, through your events, you have tons of photo opportunities. And it's giving your social media team or your parents or your athletes that creative license to share their practices through their eyes that makes Instagram so captivating. Another thing Missy said is you let the pictures do the talking. You know, I can show people a side of me outside of the pool. And I think what she meant is just outside of the race environment because she has, and they all have pictures of them outside of the pool but inside of swimming. And there's no limit on characters. You know, with Twitter, you have to sometimes, you know, edit yourself, which can be a problem. The hardest thing is to, if you have a wider platform to write what you want, it's a lot easier, and it takes less time. And so it goes back to that easy factor. So those are the reasons why she and others use Instagram. I talked about it being a visual medium. The biggest thing about Instagram is you can see the world through the eyes of others. And so this is a funny one from Santa Clara last year where NBC affiliate was doing an interview with Allison Schmidt, and Michael Phelps just decided to pop in and take a selfie, and it was incredible engagement. But people get to see a different side of you through your pictures. You are showing them instead of telling them what you're doing at that moment. This is a particular one that I saw last week that I thought was hilarious. Justin Verlander, the pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, is in a Starbucks, getting a Starbucks. There's a kid in front of him with one of his jerseys. So what does he do? He takes a selfie and posts it. And again, it's just the power of showing people your life. Now, these are celebrities, it's a little different than a swim club, but think about the opportunities you have on a daily basis within your club that's going on. Is someone doing a cannonball? Are they laughing? Are they smiling? Do you have a serious, team meeting or bonding? What are those themes? And we'll get to it in a slide in a moment. But what are the moments that you can share to others about what your club environment is? You can define your brand through pictures. Again, showing people the world through a different set of eyes. The one down here, the Speedo folks, they were at a photo shoot. And so Natalie posted something last day on the Speedo USA photo shoot. Beisel is cracking us up as usual. Well, for those of you who know Elizabeth Beisel, she is a crack up. She's always the life of any group. She's loud, she laughs, and she tells jokes. But this is just showing what's going on. You're not going to see this in a Speedo ad, most likely. But you're seeing what's going on behind the scenes. The same with Ryan. This was here. It's a beautiful day today. But this was the other day. But this is him working out, flipping tires that are 550 pounds. As opposed to telling you what he's doing, he's just snapping a photo, or someone else is snapping a photo of him, and he posts it, and he just writes something real quick. What are you doing today to make yourself better? I know what I'm doing. No pain, which may or may not be true. 550 pounds, hashtag, tire flips, freezing, OTC. So he's just telling you where he is and what he's doing at that time. Pretty cool image. So Instagram audience, 300 million members, which has now passed Twitter. The meteoric rise of Instagram continues to the point where Facebook decided they needed to buy Instagram. 41% are in 16 to 24, 41% of that 300 million, that is, are 16 to 24-year-olds. Another 35% are the 25 to 34. So quick math. 3/4 of the people who use Instagram are 16 to 34. Those are your swimmers. Those are some of your current parents. And those are some of your future parents, which may be the most important group of all. So that's the reason why you need, or we would suggest, that the people who didn't have your hands raised earlier jump on board with Instagram. Because it's where those folks are going to experience what you have to share. More than 70 million photos daily and videos. So it's huge. So the videos are 15 seconds or less that you can post on Instagram, which is great for your cell phone storage. But that can be a challenge to find that 15-second clip that's going to be the really serious, compelling, entertaining video that you put up there. But it's not just limited to photos, is I guess the overall premise that I want to get across to you. And videos are as engaging or more engaging than the photos. And you have great opportunity each and every day within your clubs. This is a little different. 60% of adults 18 to 29 use Instagram. So it's a little different than here. This is the Instagram audience, existing Instagram audience. This is more than half of all 18 to 29-year-olds use Instagram. And growing. So it's a platform to definitely, for those of you who are not on it, to get on board with. So Ramona and Jim did a great job talking about how often, 14 times a day, 45 minutes a day, that people use Facebook. Well, Instagram is gaining in popularity and usage as well. So Twitter, which most of us are familiar with and was very hot, dropped from 46% to 36% last year. It's going the wrong direction. Instagram is going up. It is easily becoming a go-to source. Now, they're different. I use Twitter primarily as my news aggregation feed. So when I go to Twitter, I'm looking to learn, to be educated. Instagram can have that component too, but it's more about aspirational or entertainment. So we talked about having a content strategy and knowing your audience. That's an important thing when you're designating what's going to go on Twitter, what's going to go on Facebook, and what's going to go on Instagram. So this is pretty, when I saw this one, I thought this was pretty crazy. the engagement on Instagram far outweighs the engagement elsewhere. Okay? So it's easy. Again, you just double tap a heart and you like a photo. With the other ones, it takes a little more effort to comment on Facebook. It takes a little more effort to write back or RT. It doesn't seem like it, but once you're in there, it really does. So this is huge, and I got a real case study. So the photo on the left here was just a couple weeks ago. Lindsey Vonn, as she was going through her record-setting tour, both here and over in Europe. The same photo Red Bull posted on Facebook and on Instagram. But look at the numbers. 45 million Facebook fans. That's pretty good, boy. Would love that. But 20,000 people liked it. 1/20th of the audience on Instagram more than tripled the number of people who liked the photo. So people are engaged, people are checking it out, and as long as you have compelling video or photos, they will see it. Okay. So some tips now on how to use Instagram, all right? So really, 3 things you can try and do with Instagram: inform, inspire, and entertain. The first thing, and they talked about it in the first session, is understand your audience. So what are you using Instagram for, and who are you using Instagram for? Okay, we talked about it's younger. So it's maybe more going to be geared towards your swimmers, your members, or their friends, which could be future members for you. Okay? So what do they want? Make your content theme what you want it to be, and then be consistent. So do you want to talk about teamwork? Do you want to have pictures and videos with smiles on your face for fun? Do you want it to be a competitive theme? Do you want it to be an educational theme? These are all up to you. But kind of try and pick 1 or 2 and stick with that program. And then every post that you have or your team has, try and think back to what that overall theme is, and does it fit? Does it fit what XYZ Swim Club or XYZ NGB is about? Tell your stories through your images and captions. So you have the opportunity to throw a caption up there, as short or as long as you want it, but eyes are going to be drawn towards here, not towards here. So concentrate your efforts on the left side of the page. For those of you who haven't used it, if you scroll through on Instagram on your phone, the pictures are about 60 to 70% of the screen, and the words kind of get hidden in there. So what's going to stop people in their tracks as you're going through is how cool this is. So I just picked a couple of examples. Here's a great one from Santa Clara. Talks about people, some of their swimmers who got Division I opportunities. So that goes under the, it can go under the inform. Look at us. This is what you can be. Could be under the inspire. This one's probably more under the entertain bucket. You're going to fall more in Instagram under the inspire and entertain bucket than the inform bucket, but there are creative ways to do that through images. And they all tell a story. Santa Clara's legacy. This is Crimson up in Boston. They're doing fun. Oh, thank you. Can't read it on my screen. But fun and balls and smiles and people swimming. That's great. Take lots of photographs and make them creative. Again, use your license. The great thing about smartphones and iPhones is that they're better than some cameras. And they give you options. The filters, we'll talk about that later, the filters allow you to do different things with your photos to be creative. But take lots of them. I know as a parent, one thing I regret, and it's a lot of parents do too, is as your children grow up, you say, God, I wish I would have taken more photos. You can never take enough photos. So it might be hard, for those of you who are coaches and involved in workouts and you're on deck and you're trying to improve stroke and teamwork and motivate. Maybe there's some others in your club that all they're doing is snapping the photos for you, and then your social media team is employing those photos later on. But use all your assets. Use your parents as well. Give them a reason to follow. Don't just post for posting's sake. Post with a purpose. Whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, what have you. Do it with a purpose. Give them a reason to follow. Because if you don't, they're going to tune out and unfollow pretty quickly. It has to be compelling. Ramona talked about the frequency, and it's really up to you. And it really is up to you. The best for Instagram is probably 1 or 2 a day, but that's not a magic formula. If you let a day or 2 go by, that's okay. If you have 3 great images in one day, go ahead and do so. Don't get locked into anything. But you want to have a consistent flow so that people are coming back. So it is a go-to feed. And really, so people are sharing as well. And that goes into engaging. Don't just post your own content. Comment on some others. Follow some of your members back. Or other good feeds. We talked about the swimming endemics. At USA Swimming is one. Swimming World, Swim Swam. Some local media would be good ones as well. So be a little strategic in who you follow. So if you want someone to follow you as well, it might not be a bad idea to follow them. Don't be overbearing about commenting or over-liking on a certain page, mind you, but engaging with them through the platform is a smart strategy. How to do it. So I'm going to keep this slide up there for a while. For those of you who do know how to use Instagram, I apologize. This may be a little rudimentary. For those of you who don't, I'm just going to give a quick summary of how to do it. But it really is gone in 60 seconds. It can be that quick. Okay? So this here is a screenshot of me doing my presentation. And this is what it looks like in the app. Okay? When you go to the photo mode to take a picture. You can also get photos, and we'll get there. This is if you're trying to take a photo for the first time. So here you have your filter. This is the button where you take a picture. But this is what it looks like. Pretty simple. And then you just snap. That's for video. Once you've taken that picture, it goes into your camera roll down here, and then you can select the photo you want. This is Matt speaking at South by Southwest 2 weeks ago. Then you just decide which one you want. If you don't want that one, you want something else. Or you don't need to take a new picture. You just go into select, and you have your camera roll. And you just touch the one you want. And it pops up here. Click next. Filters. One of the great things about Instagram is if your photo is not perfect, or even if it is, you can doctor it up a little bit. And you have all these filters down on the bottom, and you can test them. You click whatever you want, and it changes the image up here. Nothing activates until you hit next. So don't be fearful of saying, oh, I like this one, but not discovering what a new filter looks like, because it doesn't activate until you click next. So then you do that, you click next, and what does it do? It takes you to this window over here. This is where you get to write your caption. You can write whatever you want. 10 characters, 150 characters, 250 characters, I think. But you can write in your hashtags. You can write in your @mentions. And an @mention is just similar to tagging people, but that's a different category, but similar if you want to mention someone who's in there. @mentions have a 56% higher rate of engagement than not having an @mention in there. A hashtag, how many of you, I don't want to embarrass anybody, how many of you know what the hashtag does within Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram? Pretty much everybody? No? Okay. The hashtag and it was a great video at the start. But a hashtag groups like conversations together. So if you hashtag swimbiz, which we saw in the Spreadfast mosaic at the outset. So anything with the hashtag swimbiz gets put in one group or one funnel. So if you're in Twitter, and they'll talk about that in a little bit, if you're in Instagram or Facebook, if you click on the hashtag, you can see all the posts that have that hashtag in it, so they're all relevant to the same topic. So if it's Grammys, if it's Super Bowl, if it's Phillips 66 Nats, okay? Whatever it may be, all the conversation that has that hashtag is grouped together. So you don't have to go through all these different sources. If you're just interested in that conversation topic, you click on that hashtag, and they're all laid out in front of you. So putting a hashtag in the caption, probably a good thing too. That's the theory behind funnest sport, for those of you who were not necessarily aware of that with Swim Today. Is anyone who had a great image or a great tweet or a great post to share with others, you put hashtag funnest sport, and it all aggregates in one spot. So once you type in your caption, you tag who you want. So in this case, Swim 1922, for those of you who don't know, is a program between USA Swimming and Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority. It's a great one in our multicultural and diversity and inclusion initiatives. So you could tag at SGRO Updates would be their handle. And then we talked about sharing. So the great thing about Instagram is you can put it out just on your Instagram, or the same, if you click on Facebook and you click on Twitter, it can go to all three places. Now, you might want to be a little bit careful. You might not. Some days you may want to put it on multiple platforms, and some days you may not. Because the audience of Facebook is different than the audience of Instagram, is slightly different than Twitter, you may want to use the same photo, but a slightly tweaked message to a different audience on a different platform. So while this is really easy, it may not be the automatic method for you to go to. So just keep that in mind, because there's no magic formula. With photos, light beats dark every day of the week. Okay? It's going to be more engaging, it's going to be more clear, it's going to be more shareable. It's going to stop people in their tracks. We have the graphic designers back there. I'm going to make sure that they don't give me one of these or shake their head no. But blue, which is great for swimming, blue as the dominant color is 25% more shareable, more engaging than using red as the dominant color. So that bodes well as well. And using a single dominant color bodes better than using multiple dominant colors. It gives you a focal point to look at within the frame of the picture. So just as you're thinking of some things and how to use this, those are some keys. The other thing I would say is when you're taking pictures, beware of light and beware of shadows. There's nothing worse than what we think is a great photo and then you can't see people's faces because the shadow's right on top of them. Or the backlight and where it's coming from. If you can manage that within the time that you have, then I would suggest that you take those things into consideration as well. So hopefully I've made a somewhat convincing case for those of you who are not on Instagram as to why you should join and get involved. Again, it is going to skew younger, but that's where the future is. Okay? And photos. It puts less dependency on you to come up with something creative and witty with your words and to do it in 140 characters or 120 characters so it's shareable on Twitter for others. It's visual, dependent on what you share with others. And it gives a great inside look. Those I think, would be the takeaways.